I've been a car dealer for multiple years now, and I gotta say I am so annoyed with the same constant things being said about today's car market. Hearing things like, the market is crashing, dealerships are failing, banks are in trouble. But is this really the whole truth? To find out for ourselves, I'm going to cover 3 different facts so we can really see what's going on in today's car market. So you know what to expect going forward and how you can succeed if you're also a car dealer. Let's get into it. What's up, my name is Jamal from Flipping University. I help busy employees build a full-time business flipping cars without having any mechanical experience so they can build a life of freedom doing whatever they want. So there's really 3 main areas we can look at to see what the car market is really like. It's going to be the interest rates, car prices, and the amount of repossessions per year. So earlier this year, there have been reports showing that the Federal Reserve or the US Central Bank would be making 3 different cuts with the interest rates this year. And so far in 2024, there has yet to be one single cut in interest rates. And from how things are looking, there's only going to be 1 cut later this year. And by the way, if you don't really understand what I mean when I say the Federal Reserve is cutting interest rates, the Federal Reserve is just the US central banking system. And when they're going to cut or raise the interest rates, those are things that are going to affect the mortgage rates, auto loans, or credit card rates. Now, I will say there's a lot of different aspects to this and why they didn't make the cut. But one of the main reasons that really kind of stems into this is just because inflation has finally eased up from the crazy point it was after COVID. And though, yes, I know for people that are looking to get car loans themselves and they want interest rates to drop a lot lower and different things like that, and even potentially mortgage rates, which is the same as me, I'm looking to get a house and I love interest rates to drop a lot more too. On the other side, it actually shows that the economy is going in a positive direction. Because if inflation has finally eased up and stopped, then the overall market, not even just the car market, the whole economy is actually in a much better direction. And I'm sure you might have seen that even with things like, let's say, potentially gas prices and other things finally starting to make a bit of a drop from what it was before. And of course, when you're looking at the car market, you can't just look at the car market. The market really plays a factor of what other things like the overall economy is doing as well. But that is one area that shows that the car market is moving in a positive direction than what it was previously. The next thing we're going to cover is what car prices have been like, and one of the main areas I want to highlight to look at is what the wholesale prices have been doing so far this year. And if you don't know, wholesale prices basically just means what the prices are like at dealer auctions that dealers like I or other dealers would go to. And we've seen reports that prices are around 8.9% lower from what they were a year ago. But at the same time, prices from a couple of months ago have actually kind of slowed down and there hasn't been much changes recently. Now this shows a couple of things. First of all, yes, I'm glad that prices have finally dropped from the crazy prices that they were post-COVID, because before, I know even prices at dealer auctions were ridiculous. I don't know how people were even staying in business. And on top of that, these wholesale prices that we're seeing here should also trickle down to what consumer prices should be able to get as well. Just because if dealers are getting lower prices on cars, then the amount that they sell those cars for to other consumers should be lower as well. Should be. That's up to you guys to actually decide for the other dealers out there. But specifically talking about the fact that these past months and what has happened so far in 2024 has shown that it's not like the car market is just in free fall. Prices are starting to get to the point where they're just at a halt and they're staying around the same level as what they are. And I understand this could be a tough pill to swallow for some people that's out there that's like, man, I just wish prices were like what they were years ago, pre-COVID. But the truth is, things aren't like what they were pre-COVID anywhere, not even just in the car market. And that's primarily because the US dollar is not worth what it was years ago. Things like the stimulus checks that are being given out to the government and plenty of other factors play into that. But regardless, we can't expect car prices to go exactly back to what they were years ago. That doesn't mean that the market is in a bad state right now. Then the last bit of proof that we're going to get into to show where the car market is going and what it's like is the amount of repossessions that's happening. So right now, the rate for the amount of people in the US that are around a month or more behind in car payments is around 7.7% right now. This is actually the highest it's been since 2010. But we're not just going to stop there. The other thing is that the amount of repossessions that has happened in 2023 for the full year has been 1.5 million, which is actually up from 1.2 from 2022. But at the same time, to put it in context, both of those numbers are actually under what they were pre-COVID. In 2019, there was actually 1.7 million repossessions that happened through the course of the year. So there's really two different things that we can take from those facts. First of all, it tells us that lenders are being much more lenient than they used to be, because realistically, the amount of delinquent payments on accounts that are about a month or more behind is the most that they've been since 2010. And then that should also mean that we'd also see more repossessions than we've seen in any of the other years as well. But at the same time, that also points out a huge problem that we as dealers are making and consumers are making as well. First of all, there's way too many people that's out there that are getting themselves signed up for car loans that they really should know they can't afford. Especially the ridiculous loans that we're seeing nowadays, where we're seeing potentially 6-year, 7-year, 8-year loans that we've never really seen before. No one is telling these people that they need to be buying a brand new car. Truthfully speaking, most people out there would be more than fine enough with a used car that they can afford to buy completely in cash. But also, again, we dealers are making huge mistakes as well. I go to dealer auctions frequently, and there's plenty of times that I see dealers overpaying for cars a ridiculous amount, where they're paying the amount that they really should be selling cars to the public. But because of the fact that they know they can make more money on the back end, where they're signing people up for these ridiculous loan amounts and making people spend way more than they really should be paying for that car, which also I will say in turn hurts us all as well, because they're keeping auction prices a little bit higher than they really should be, rather than just saying, no, we're not going to pay these prices as well. But because of these two groups of people are going hand in hand making the wrong decisions, it's keeping repossessions at a pretty high rate. Again, not at a ridiculously alarming rate, because it's not what it was even before COVID, but still to the point where if something isn't changed soon with how we do business, there probably could be a problem in the future. And I did want to mention too, if you are someone that's getting into the business yourself, or even if you're someone that's been in the business for a while and you're looking to see a good path that you can follow to be able to get high profit cars, and you're not someone that has a lot of mechanical experience yourself, I did actually put together a checklist covering that exact thing of how I'm able to do that myself. If you want access to that, just go to the link in the description below and you can download it yourself. And now, just for the best advice that I would give you as another dealer that's in this business as well, and the market has been what it's been like so far, I really would say your best bet is to go for cars that are a little bit cheaper. Let's say cars that you could get potentially around $5,000 or maybe up to $7,000 or so, and you can sell still for pretty good profit, but you could sell quickly. Because right now we've seen, especially with things like the election coming up pretty soon at the end of this year, most consumers are in a mindset where they're just like in a wait and see type of approach, where they're trying to see what interest rates are going to be going forward, what prices are going to be going forward, what's the market going to be like. So they're not going to be signing up with as many big car loans as they used to be. And the last thing that you want is to be locked into a car for months where the market is still in a pretty unsteady place, and then you end up having to sell the car in the future for the same price that you might have bought it for now. And just to wrap everything up, first of all, I just have to say, yes, I understand not only the car market, but the economy is not in an amazing state. Obviously, things still need to be worked on, but I just want to mention that yes, things are a lot better from what they were years ago. They've been saying the same thing from different industries, saying that the market is crashing, prices are falling, all that stuff. And yes, that's also true to a degree, but at the same time, there's still plenty of opportunities that's out there right now. I remember what business was like a couple of years ago, right after COVID. It was not easy being a car dealer. Things are way easier now. Prices are much better. And if you start the business now, there's no reason why you can't succeed. But that's everything. Make sure you get your checklist to get a high profit flip, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.